It's 9 minutes with me, Mike Lindsley, here from Rosie's Corner. If you are in and around Central New York, you gotta get here to Rosie's. Unbelievable. I just walked in. The place smells spectacular with the pizzas that just came out, the wings. It's a fish Friday. Pair it with the mac and cheese or the fries and coleslaw. Or as I tell you all the time, just get it all. Get the big fish entree with mac and cheese and fries and coleslaw, right? Pay a couple extra bucks. Get those toppings, of course. You can always save it for another day. Rosie's Corner, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Come try the garlic parm wings. Try their American Classic Burger. Try some of the other appetizers. They've got the Fish Friday, as I mentioned. Pizza wing combinations available across the board. Salads in the cooler. Pepsi products in the cooler. Desserts to go as well. Rosie's Corner on Facebook and Instagram, and available on Grubhub as well. So, the Yankees stink. Obviously, I've been barking up this tree for a long, long time. Everybody knows that I am not a Brian Cashman fan at all. I think he's the most overrated general manager in professional sports right now, and I think it's been that way for several years. And I know what the immediate social media, Yankee Twitter, crazy millennial baseball fan is going to come at me and say, well, you're where you are and he's where he is. Like, you know more than he does. What are you going to do? If you were GM of the team, what would come on, you think you'd do a better job than Brian Cashman? Maybe. People have been telling me for years that I probably should run the Yankees and be the GM. But in all seriousness, folks, I don't think that the Yankees should win the World Series every year. I don't think anybody should win the World Series every single year. In fact, the last baseball dynasty we had was between 96 and 2000 with that Yankee era, the Joe Torre era. I extended into 2003 because the team made two more World Series. I know they won 4 in 5 years, but they made 2 more in 2001 and 2003. It was pretty much a 7-year dynasty. That's really the last dynasty we've had. Now, the Dodgers currently have a chance to equal that Yankee dynasty, but they still have a lot of work left to do. I mean, they've got to win more World Series, win more pennants. They got to have Hall of Famers on the roster. They got maybe 1 or 2 right now, but we still have a long way to go for the Dodgers if they're going to build a dynasty. I don't think it's realistic to win every single year. However, when you have the resources, when you have the international scouting, when you're the New York Yankees, when you have a payroll every single year, even though you're trying to get below the luxury tax, you still have a payroll of north of $200 million. I mean, that's the case every single year, whether it's 205, 210, 222, you're always over $200 million. Now, you don't have to spend a ton of money all the time in order to win and be smart. In other words, you can have a big payroll and still make some really stupid mistakes. And again, that leads me to this. You don't need to constantly have a situation where, every single deal you make works. It's unrealistic. I'm not saying that either. I feel almost as strongly about you can't get every move right as not being able to win the World Series every year. Those two things are completely unrealistic. If you're a general manager, you're going to make a lot of moves. You're going to miss on a lot of guys, but you're going to strike on some guys. It's a numbers game. Same thing with winning the World Series every year. No, but if you're built the right way, if you're constructed the right way, you have a far greater chance to win the World Series or at least get there. And that's the thing too. Like if you go to the postseason and you don't make the World Series and you lose, you know what? Lose going down swinging. Lose with the best possible model you can. The New York Yankees haven't done that, and I know that there's a lot of Yankee fans that are going to come at me and go, "Dude, the last few years they've won 100 games multiple times in the regular season. They've been in the ALCS multiple times. Okay, those are all nice things." But in the playoffs, it's how you lose. It's how you get exposed. It's how they got exposed 3 years ago against Boston, how they've gotten exposed against Houston with them having superior pitching and the Yankees just sitting, by, we don't need another arm. We don't need, to go get Justin Verlander at the last hour. I know the Verlander thing was kind of a weird deal. The Astros were giving away far less unbelievable prospects to Detroit to get Verlander than the Yankees were. I know that there's a lot of factors in trades. The last hour, basically, Verlander, I guess the last minute, Verlander decided to go to Houston, and the price was certainly not as expensive for Houston to get him than the Yankees. But you know what? I would have made it make a deal you can't refuse to get Justin Verlander. If you get Justin Verlander at that time, you probably have a World Series by now. There's been Patrick Corbin out there. There's been multiple other pitchers out there. The Yankees have just sat around and not made any kind of a play. Now, they did get Garrett Cole, and they needed an ace. That was the one missing link, or so we thought. Now the rest of the pitching staff is a disaster, which is only going to create bullpen problems, taxing of the bullpen. We already saw Johnny Loizaga get tattooed, by the Blue Jays and have issues as well with a wild pitch. Balls hit hard all over the place. I thought he could have actually given up 3 to 5 runs in that game the other day. But that's a result of pitching too much. That's just the bottom line. So you're taxed that way. You get exposed in the postseason. And that's where I'm going with this Yankee thing. This team, to me, it seemed so easy. It really did in the offseason yet again. Gleyber Torres is not a shortstop. Why do they keep running him out there? It's a horrendous organizational decision. Put him at second base. You sign sign a guy in the offseason as a shortstop. Didi Gregorius was out there again after you let him go, which was a terrible mistake to begin with. I was kind of on the fence back and forth with it for a while. Then I was like, let Didi go. Now I'm back on the other side. It was a ridiculous mistake to have made to let Didi walk. You know what? You don't want to bring Didi Gregorius in? Then bring in Andrelton Simmons, a guy who's been a baseball nomad, who's phenomenal in the field. He's one of the best fielding shortstops of the last 10 to 20 years in Major League Baseball, and he can also hit fairly well as well. Somebody came at me on Twitter with, the batting average, this. First of all, you're an analytic guy. You're a stat head, so why do you care about batting average? Second of all, why don't you worry about Gary Sanchez's batting average? He hit 147 last year. For crying out loud, that's an embarrassment. Aaron Hicks right now is hitting 116 as I record this. By the way, Gary Sanchez, disaster. How many times do you have to keep trotting out Gary Sanchez? The excuses for this team, it's mind-boggling. They're not built the right way. From one place to another. They don't have enough starting pitching. That ends up taxing the bullpen. They're too reliant on the right-handed bats with power. Voit, who's out now, Stanton, Aaron Judge, even Clint Frazier is more of a power guy. Gleyber Torres now is more of a power guy. They have too much power from that side. Oh, by the way, why is Jay Bruce even playing at this point? He hits into 1 million double plays. He's lost at the plate. He's an inning killer. Why is Aaron Boone? Aaron Boone run by the front office geeks of Brian Cashman's cronies, but why in the world is Jay Bruce in there? Why is he bat 6? Why is Brett Gardner batting 3rd? Because they're too analytical as well. The Yankees need to pull back and get within reality, play in the real baseball world, not the pretend world, and be built the right way. More starting pitching, less right-handed power, more defense, a catcher who can get his shit together. These are all problems that the Yankees have had, not just this year. These problems existed last year, the year before that. And what does it all equate to? It all equates to being a great regular season team over 162 games where you can expose number 3, number 4, number 5 starters against the Royals, the Tigers, the Rangers, etc., and some of the teams in your own division, in rebuilds, the Orioles, etc. Then in the postseason, ain't working. So, to me, it was simple fixes. It's like 3 or 4 little fixes right now for the Yankees. Get a little bit more pitching, fix the catcher position, get better defense, be more balanced and versatile. You do those little things, the Yankees can win a World Series, or at least get to a World Series. 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley, brought to you by Rosie's Corner here. Get on down for Fish Friday if you're in and around Central New York. Hit me on Twitter, @Mike L Sports. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.